Another big piece of Springfield history falling victim to the wrecking ball. The Frisco Railroad Shops used to be the city's largest employer. KY3's Mike Landis has more on the end of an era.
Yeah, Ethan, times have definitely changed from the days when thousands worked for the railroad here in Springfield, and now it's getting much harder to find landmarks to remind us of what some are calling the golden years. In North Springfield, you can see the remnant of another era crumbling to the ground.
I hate to see us continue to lose these bits of our history.
These rusted tracks and piles of rubble once made up the economic engine of Springfield. The Frisco Railroad car shops built train cars and the city.
At its height, the railroad here had over 4,000 employees working in Springfield.
I went to work there when I got out of the Navy in 1970.
Jerry Stewart toiled away in the neighboring locomotive shop.
You know, I had a lot of hard times in there, hot. It was a good place to work, but it was hot and heavy. Back in those days, Frisco was a family.
But that family began to break up in 1980 with the beginning of a series of railroad mergers that weren't so kind to the city.
It's too bad. Springfield was tremendously supportive of the railroad.
The locomotive shops closed in 1996 after hundreds of workers were sent home with a pink slip.
I worked over 30 years on that. I never was laid off.
It's hard to believe after all these years.
But the car shops chugged on under Trinity Railcar until 2008 before it fell victim to the rough economy. BNSF says there's simply not a market to lease these shops again.
Demoing 3 car shop buildings that have been on the premise since the 1920s. It's about 50% complete and should be wrapping up in the next couple of weeks.
Ironically, more trains than ever are rolling through Springfield these days.
We still have over 800 employees in Springfield, and Springfield remains a very important and critical link in our overall rail network.
But reminders of the old days will soon be found only in pictures and in memories.
Very sad, yeah. Being an old railroader, an old railroad family, you hate to see it die.
And BNSF tells us the train yard tracks will stay in use along with some other operations here in the city. But the railroad says it could actually end up expanding those yards if the economy rebounds, which could actually add jobs. But at this point, the railroad says that's just a possibility and not a set plan. Lisa?
Thank you, Mike. A program